Okay, so this morning I'm going to do one of the A10 missions for you. So my objective is to take out a company of T-72 Russian tanks in South Georgia. So I'll be in this area here. They never ever give me enough information. They're always bloody hard to spot. But I will have an AWACS, which is a radar, airborne radar aircraft that will tell us if any enemy aircraft pop up. We have an air-to-air refueler that I can also use, but highly unlikely. Also got a total of 4 F-16s, which will be conducting suppression of enemy air defense. So they've got anti-radiation missiles that target SAM sites. And then a total of, we've got 6 A10s, one of them being me and my wingman, which will be there to do close air support, so taking out ground targets. Got another 4 F-16s doing a close air patrol, so their job is to protect all the ground attack aircraft from enemy air threats. Also got 4 F-18s that are going to do ground attack as well, and then 2 Apache helicopters. Alright, so I'll show you the full startup, and hopefully I don't get shot down. I know my wingman will get shot down because he's an idiot and he always does, but let's see how this goes. So first of all, I am loaded with 2 AIM-9 infrared air-to-air missiles for my self-defense in case someone comes too close. This here is my lightning pod, which is a really high-tech camera that gives me like infrared scopes, so you got white hot and black hot. I've got on this wing and on the other wing 3 Maverick air-to-ground missiles, so they've got their own camera here and here, but I'll be using this camera here to get the information, locking on with this camera, and these ones here will fly towards the target that this one has targeted for them. And then on this side of the wing, this is my electronic countermeasures pod, so it jams all enemy radars, makes it harder for them to work out where I am, get a range, what type of aircraft I am. So it basically reduces or increases the time it takes for them to be able to get a positive lock on me and fire on me underneath the aircraft. So the first one you can see there is a GBU-38, which is a GPS guided bomb, 500 pounder. The two big green ones there, they are CBU-105s, which is a smart cluster bomb, so it's a GPS guided cluster bomb. When that is deployed, it will deploy little munitions that are guided by a parachute, and then once those parachutes drop down to a certain height, which I'll program in, they'll disperse pellets of liquid copper, which penetrates armor. In the middle there is your typical JDAM, which is the GBU-12. It's a laser guided bomb, which is very good for attacking moving targets. It's got some big fins on it. And that is, and I also got the main weapon there, the 20mm autocannon there, which I can demonstrate for you later on. Okay, so first of all, battery on, left and right generators on, inverter is on. Turn the APU, which is the auxiliary power unit, the little jet engine that you can't see, it's internal, but it will charge the battery for me while I'm using the battery on the ground, and initially give the power for the engines to start turning over before enough fuel is provided to the engines for them to turn themselves over. So that is spooling up now. So nearly at 100%. That's the temperature gauge there for the APU. Okay, so now that that's fully spooled up, turn my APU Generator on. Turn all my fuel pumps on, so I've got my left and right wing fuel pumps and the main tank fuel pumps. And now I can inject some fuel into the left engine, which is my primary engine. So you always start your primary engine first. That's spooling up now, so I'll turn all my electronics on. So this is the inbuilt computer there. It always takes a long time to start up that one, so it takes 4 minutes for that one to boot up, so I always get that one first. Turn my screens on. I'll close the canopy just because it's going to get a bit noisy. So this is the built-in test function, which will test all the onboard systems, the flight computers, the engines, etc. So I can run that. So that's going to go through its test function now, so you can see it's testing all the caution lights. This is the testing the laser. This is the flight stabilization, but that's going to go on for a while, so I'll keep doing what I'm doing. So that first engine's up and running fine now. Increase the fuel into the right engine and get that one spinning up. I'll set my standby attitude indicator.
Pull up, pull up.
Oh, so this page here.
Altitude, altitude.
So currently it's showing none of my weapons. But I can go to here and load all my weapons into the computer so that I can program all the weapons delivery parameters. So that flight test is all done now. That's my wingman over there. He's already ready to go because he's a computer. There we are, all my weapons are in. So there's the Mavericks, the GBU-38s, the cluster bombs, and the JDAM. I've also got my AIM-9s, my targeting pod, and my electronic counters pod. Also showing I've got 1150 rounds of gun ammo. Okay, so that right engine is spooled up now, so I can turn my APU off. I no longer need that. Go to my CDU. So it's currently doing a self-align process where the GPS aligns with the aircraft. So that there's the timer there. That will save 4.8, so 4 minutes. So that's just counting down there. Once that's done, I can click nav and turn my autopilot system on. While that's doing that, I'll turn my flight stabilization on so the controls are easier to handle, and I'll set my takeoff trim. The ejection seat. Can raise the seat of the pilot so I can see the HUD properly. Turn the HUD on. Turn my electronic countermeasures on. So that is just the display there up the top. That is my radar warning receiver, so that is telling me that there is 3 aircraft there, 4 actually. I can separate them, so there's 3 there now. So there's 2 F-18s and an E-3, which is the AWACS. So they're producing a radar signal, and it's telling me that there's an aircraft over there. Can load up my map. It's already got a pre-programmed flight path in. Go back to my, so I'll turn the jammer on, so it's now currently set to standby and it's jamming air targets. I've got 240 chaff and 120 flare. I've set this to semi-auto, so it already picks a, so you can program this to however you like, but there's also an automatic mode and a semi-auto mode. So the semi-auto and the auto mode determines the threat that's going to be the most dangerous to you and picks a program already put in there, so I don't have to do it. Semi-auto is good because it takes away all the time it takes to program it, and but the automatic mode tends to just waste flares and chaff, just pause them out when I don't want them to. So that's finished aligning now, so I can go nav. See my HSI, my horizontal situation indicator, is all tuned up now. Turn my autopilot on. And the last button here I got was my missile launch warning. So it's actually a camera on the front of the nose here. Can't really show you with the mouse, but it is just to the left of the front nose wheel. That there detects the smoke plumes of any missiles that are launched towards you. So it will give me a warning there. Alright, I think one last thing. I'll go pitot heat on, oxygen on, test that I have enough oxygen. Yep. And turn my radios on. Got 3 of them in this aircraft. And what's the last thing on the checklist? Anti-skid. So turn the anti-skid on to stop me skidding down the runway. Okay, so turn some lights on. Turn my navigation lights on, and we're good to go. Nose wheel steering engaged. And landing light on. I'm just going to turn that beeping down because they're AI aircraft, they never turn their radars off, and they're basically like, I guess you could say, if you're on an army field, not an army field, a battlefield, they would be the equivalent of someone standing there with a trumpet, telling everyone where they are. So they're not very stealthy when they're AI aircraft. So the idea is you only turn your radar on when you actually need it. Now, because this is a campaign mission, there's no reason to do any radio calls, so I'll just enter the runway, set flaps to takeoff, test my air brakes that they work, the controls. Alright. Turn my strobes on, so I'm entering the runway. There's my wingman there. He's probably going to wait for me to take off. Yeah, that's it. As you saw from my last video, the AI can be fucking kamikazes. Alright, brakes are set. Throttle up, 80%. Brakes release. Temperatures and pressures are in the green. Disengage nose wheel steering. Bit of crosswind. Airspeed is alive and increasing. Bit of lag. 130, rotate. Positive rate of climb, no runway remaining, gear up. That's just a gear warning light, bell, sorry, to tell you that the gear is moving and not locked in. And flap up. So that was just the autopilot that I just turned on there. Explain some more things. So this is my UFC, my Universal Function Coordinator. So that is basically the same thing as my computer down here, except it's up here, so I don't have to look down and take my eyes off the front windscreen there. So I've just gone function position, so it's reading all my outside information. It's currently 15 degrees outside and reducing as I climb. This is my latitude longitude coordinates. My indicated airspeed of 209 knots and increasing. My Mach number, which is your speed relevant to the speed of sound. So Mach 1 would be the speed of sound, so I'm doing 0.34. So I've had this aircraft for about 9 months now, and I reckon I know about 60% of it. There's a lot. This is the most in-depth aircraft you can have. I'll turn this on, which is my IFF, which is identify friend or foe. You can basically code it up to a unique code so that company aircraft can see on their radar that you're friendly, whereas the enemy won't have that code, so they won't be able to tell what aircraft you are. I can turn my laser arm on, my targeting pod on. I'll leave the gun off, and I'll leave my master arm off for now. So I'm just going to play with these screens a bit, see if I can make the maps more readable. There we go. So I'll turn some of my lights off now. While I'm here, I'm going to my missile page. So that is an F-18, and sorry, at my 10 o'clock, he's just gone radar lock on me. And he's probably seeing what the hell am I am. There you go, he's just realised I'm friendly and he's turned his radar off. So anyway, back to the missile page. So I'm going to here to cycle the EO power, which is the electronic power of the Mavericks here. So it's warming up the seeker heads so that once they're warmed up, they're ready to fire and track towards the target. Go back to my map, and we'll track towards waypoint 3. So I'm in command here, so I'm going to tell the other aircraft. So I'll tell the seed aircraft, which is the suppression of enemy air defense, to attack there, because that's my greatest threat. And then I'll tell the CAP, the close air patrol, to support them. So that was that there. So they should start engaging. Once they've taken out the enemy air defense, I'll tell the close air support aircraft to go in and engage. So we'll go through those other aircraft. So these are the enemy Su-24s. MiG-29. Some lines. This is our radar, airborne radar aircraft, the E3. There's the F-18s. Airborne refueler. And our Apaches. So currently climbing up to about 15,000 feet. So you can see in the HUD here I'm at 11,000 feet. At 15,000 feet I'll be above all the low threat anti-aircraft systems, so the shoulder mounted Stingers, the AAA batteries. But if these F-16s don't take out the high threat SAM sites, they will still be able to shoot me down. Let's see if my targeting pod is warmed up. That it is. I can put that one so that it locks onto my current waypoint. There we are. Now we got a white hot camera. So that is looking. Let's see if I can see it. Down there. So once the next waypoint is reached, that's a friendly. That's not though. Let's make it interesting. So just reached the waypoint 3, which is our fence-in point. So all weapons are turned on and armed, all the lights are off, and we'll contact our JTAC, which is our Joint Terminal Area Controller, which is the guys on the ground asking for air support. Turn him down, otherwise he's going to keep talking to me. God, he just won't shut up. There you go. It's a little quieter now. Okay, so we're going to our egress point now, which is the next point where we engage from, pretty much. I always have trouble spotting targets, so hopefully I do alright. There's some there. Okay, so I'll lock him. And rifle. So rifle's the term you use when you fire air-to-ground missiles. So I'll go defensive now, that way if anything's down there that's unfriendly towards me, I won't get touched. Shack. So that's another phraseology for the Air Force when they get a air-to-ground kill. We'll see if we can lock up another target for us. There is an APC down there. So let's make a turn here. We'll see if I can lock him up. So that's an enemy MiG-29. He's turned his radar on in really aggressive search mode. Okay, so he doesn't want support anymore, so I'll change frequency and talk to the other JTACs, because there's currently 2 JTACs down there. So that is a missile fired. I'm going to go defensive. I don't think he's fired at me though. So as you can see out there, there's some dogfighting happening. That was an enemy aircraft that was just shot down by our F-18s. Okay, so I'll reline up for that attack. I was almost going to go into air-to-air mode there to help them out because I wasn't sure if they were going to handle it.
Ready to copy. Line is as follows. Chevy, 3, 4, 8, 11 nautical, 70 feet, MSL. Tanks, Kilo, Mike, 5, 2, 7, 8, 2, 7. No mark, 0, east, 10,000. Egress, east, through Chevy.
Okay, so he wants me to come in from the east. That way I don't hit his friendlies. So I'll do just that for him. I'll see if my wingman is still alive. I doubt he is. No, he still is. Oh, there you go. I'll actually tell him to engage properly then. From the east.
Engage armor at my speed with Maverick from the east.
And
Ready to copy remarks.
I'll talk to JTAC and get the remarks.
Request AGM 65D. CU-23 north 3 nautical. CU-23 southwest 3 nautical. CU-23 west 0 nautical. Wind 224 at 4 meters per second.
Okay, so that is 2Z, so Zeus 23s, so they're AAA batteries. I don't know where they are yet though, so I won't engage them until I've done this guy. Rifle.
Warning, autopilot.
I did just see one here before. There they are. Oh no, that's oh, there's a couple of guys still there. Yep, they're shooting at me now. Let's see where that there it is there. Just try and spot those guys again. It's very hard with a shitty screen to actually spot enemy. I should actually turn like cheat mode on so I can see them with the red labels. There they are. It's a MiG-29 behind me somewhere. Yeah. We'll turn in. At least I know where they are now. So that's just my stall warning indicator going off because I'm too low of an airspeed at such a high weight that the wings aren't generating enough lift. Rifle. So you can see some artillery coming down there. So I've got friendly guys across the river there. They're actually engaging them. What I'll do now, something different, I'll set up my JDAMs. So this one is the GPS guided one. Let's turn my jammer on, so my jammer is now operating. So that's going to make it difficult for this guy to lock me up. Wherever he is. See if you can spot him. That's alright. There's still friendlies out there, so hopefully they get him. Okay, so my JDAMs, so it's on CCRP mode, which is continuously computed reporting point, or so not reporting point, release point. So that's where the computer will tell me when to drop the bomb. I don't have to guess. I'll set my minimum height to 1500 feet, so I avoid all the splash damage of the weapon. Now we just got to find one to lock it in and get the GPS coordinates for it. Just got to spot them. There's one there. So we'll lock that in. And turn in on him. Probably actually over the top of him now, so it's too close to drop, but we'll see. Never know. So you can see the triangles here are slowly unwinding to the top. Then I'll get a release cue here. The idea is to keep this straight line here in line with this dot in the middle of the circle. Manual release. Pickle. So pickle's the phraseology there you use for when deploying a bomb. Shack. just found some good targets for a cluster bomb, so we'll turn in on them. Hopefully I can still spot them. There they are. Okay, so go to my bomb, want it on CCRP mode again, and I'll select 1800 feet because that is the minimum height that this weapon can be deployed, so that the parachutes deploy properly. Pickle. So here you can see the parachutes. They'll descend down now on top of the target. So they're actually artillery, shooting at the friendly airfield off to the east there. So that might have, I think there's one left there, so I'll come in for a gun run for you. So we'll turn the gun master arm on. Select the gun reticle. Let's see if my wingman's still airborne. This will test him.
Engage air defenses.
Okay, go in for our dive. You want sort of a 45-degree angle. Line it up. There we are. So you saw I hit him from behind where his arm is weaker. Believe it or not, DCS actually even takes that into account. Now I'm not sure if there's any targets left. I'll pick a target for you so we can do some JDAM targeting for you. Okay, so I'll just pick a nice, oops, get rid of that. Assume there's nothing there. There we are, we can use this building here, say that the good old jihadis are in this one here. So what I want is you go GBU12, go to the weapon profile. So it's on CCIP, which is continuously computed endpoint point. So you want that to CCRP, which is the accurate one. You want your laser on, and I want it to be on for 15 seconds. Minimum altitude of 1,500 feet to avoid the splash damage. So this is your maneuver once you've completed the bomb run, so you can set it so that the camera is more accurate. So mine's going to be none. I'm just going to overfly it. And that's all I really want to set up at the moment. So I'll save that. Alright, so it's behind me there, so we'll turn around in a sec. It's 3.5 miles behind me and exactly right behind me, 180 degrees. That is a MiG-29. I might have to go defensive in a second. Okay, so I'll turn around, we'll do this one nice and quick and then we can return to base. I'll even get my wingman to go to base.
Flight RTB.
Okay, so this one here, goal is to get these two in line as best as possible. Up here, there will be a timer that will start counting down when I'm in range. That circle will drop to the center. I'll hold down the trigger and then it will deploy automatically. Yes, it is 20 seconds till drop. So I've pushed the trigger, holding it down. Pickle. So I'll show you the weapons point of view. So the laser's just gone active, you've seen it swinging around there. Anyway, so I'll turn my master arm off, gun off, and I will return to base. So we'll select waypoint 6, which is correct. Go back to our map view. RTB from there.
Warning, autopilot.
Okay, so I want to go nav. I'll just see if I can get some frequencies for my base. So I am at Batumi. Frequency is 131.0.
Fatumi, Hog 1-1, inbound. At QSE 29.89. Fatumi, Hog 1-1, inbound. Hog 1-1, Fatumi, fly heading 214, 435, QSE 29.89, runway 13 to pattern altitude.
Cool, so he's giving me some heading information once I am at my reporting point. So what I can do is turn all my lights back on. And I'm going to do the lazy thing here. I've got a lot of weapons still on and they're not in balance. I've got an odd number on each side, so it's making the aircraft quite difficult to fly. Going to make the tax spy scream and drop all my weapons off. They won't actually kill anyone because the master arm was off at the time. Turn our map back on. I'm going to tune my instrument landing system, which is 110.3. Select the ILS. I'll also tune my TACAM, which is a navigation system, so that's 16 X-ray. Turn that. So that is the TACAN there, that's its ident in Morse code. I'm not going to translate it, but it should say 16 X-ray. So I'll turn that off so you don't have to hear it. Okay, it's the ILS then. So it's the ILS giving me its identification, so I'll turn the volume down on that. That way I don't have to hear it. So what I'll do now is I'll start my descent. Get this aircraft all trimmed up so it's easy to fly. So I've turned the ILS on. So you can see the first one. So it's going to have two yellow lines here which will form a cross. So the first one will indicate whether I'm left or right of the track. And then the one that goes horizontal here will be my glide slope. So if I am below the, it means I'm too low, and vice versa for too high. So I'm descending now to 2,500 feet, which is a circuit pattern, I believe, for this aerodrome. And slowly dropping my speed, which you can see on her left, 280 knots to 250 knots. There we are, set the altitude and heading hold again. I'm going to turn my radar warning system off so it's nice and quiet. Okay, take gear, first stage of flap. That's the gear warning, saying the gear's going down. You want to check that you got 3 gear warning lights, so the 3 green means gear is down and locked, all 3 landing gear. You got the airfield off to our left here. You'll see here there'll be 4 lights. They'll either be so they're white and red. I want 2 white and 2 red. That will indicate that I am on the correct glide slope to land at the runway. And then that is my wingman doing something stupid as usual. I'll tell him to anchor. That way he's not going to land in front of me again like he did before. Quite far right, we'll come back on track. I think the ILS is playing up because it's not giving me those 2 crosses. Turn second. Oh yeah, that's why it's not doing it. Okay, so we're looking for 2 red and 2 white here. Well, there's an aircraft taking off there. So I'm going to go around.
Speed brake. Speed brake.
There's not the best air traffic control in this. There you go. So now they're telling me I'm cleared for visual approach. But we'll ignore them. We'll set ourselves up again. So that's just me putting the gear down again. Need air traffic control to actually reply to me, but if they don't, I'm just going to commit to the landing anyway because I don't want to be here all day.
Natumi, Hog 1-1, request landing.
There you go, clear to land.
Clear to land, runway 13, wind 044, at 4 meters per second.
Alright, so it's saying 4 white, which means I'm high. So these 4 lights are called the PAPI system, which is the pilot activated precision approach lights. So most aerodromes will have these. Gold Coast has them. Melbourne will have them. So it's used in bad weather to see how high or low you are. So still saying I'm high. There you go, 1 red. So I'm coming back onto the correct glide path now. There, 2 red, 2 white. So I want to maintain that glide path right there. Apply the wheel brakes and air brakes. Turn nose wheel steering on. So clear of the active runway, turn my strobes off, and clean up the aircraft and take flaps up and retract my air brakes. Oops. And go park next to some of these F-16s. There we are. That is a very rusty flight in the A10 for you.